Today is Saturday, October 7th, 2023. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor 45, Week 2.
Almost got you to do it, huh? You felt it, that pull. And
I'd already said who I would.
Yeah, I know, but the way you would come in with the date and the other stuff.
I resisted
you
following
did. You felt
your
it.
Delicious charm.
Yes, you felt it, though. I could tell. You were subjected to the pull.
I see. Isn't everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm the main character.
The roofer guy asked me if we ever went anywhere.
If we ever went anywhere.
Yeah, because
Okay.
he hasn't seen us leave the house all week.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
Well,
he's like, do you guys ever go anywhere?
We've definitely been here for all of that. Right now, it's quiet. There's some peace.
Well, yeah,
After
we
all
had to
the-
wait till almost night to,
Yeah.
but okay.
Some peace and quiet.
We're thrilled. We're
Can record the
getting things
podcast.
done.
Yes, definitely. But
So,
it has
but
been
the-
a loud, busy week, and yeah, we've been here. Yeah, hunkered down.
And Zed hasn't come out from under the love seat yet.
Only at night. Yeah.
Only at night, about 2 or 3 hours after it gets quiet.
This has nothing to do with listener feedback.
No,
We're
it
way
isn't.
off track. Way off. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we digress.
We need to
Okay.
wind it back a little bit.
All righty.
So we're here to talk about, like you said, week 2. And on Wednesdays, we do the recaps. On Saturdays, we do the listener feedback. That's when we hand the reins over to the other super fans, check in with them, see what they're thinking, what they saw, because everybody sees things differently. So we
Tis true.
get all these different perspectives and weigh those in. And, of course, we're all hoping to get some tips to help us in the fantasy league.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is going to be a rough one this upcoming week. So I'm listening close to what everybody's saying, trying to divine a direction. How many fans did we have check in with us?
19.
19 super fans took time out of their busy lives to weigh in with thoughts on their favorite show in this last episode, and some of them do offer predictions.
And up first, let's hear what Pete has to say.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Well, can't say I was shocked, and I think the outcome was a bit anticlimactic, but at least there was no quitters. So I'm going to let out a great big woo! And this is for Brandyn, because he offered nothing, as I'm sure Stacy agrees. Nah, 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 nah. Hey, hey, hey. You are awful at puzzles. Go back on your couch, Brandyn, with your goofy glasses and long hair. But at least you didn't quit. I'll give you that, Brandyn. I have to say this. I think Sabaya and Sean and Caleb, they had to make that move there. They had to. I mean, yes, you might argue Emily was a bigger threat from a trust point of view. You don't know if she'll flip-flop, if there's a tribe swap or come the merge, but they had to get rid of him. What was Brandyn offering? Terrible at puzzles. He couldn't even get an advantage there when he went on, what was that, Shipwheel Island, whatever they call it now. Drew completely dominated that one, and he lost 2 of the challenges because he was terrible at puzzles, and he made his tribe believe he was good. A big no-no. And if you can't deliver, you're going home. And that's exactly what happened with Brandyn. Now, yes, maybe he would have been loyal to the 3 there, but they had to get rid of him, unless they want to keep losing, like what happened to Matt Singh back in season 25. So that was the right decision, in my opinion. Hopefully the yellow team can get on the map now. Now, quickly with the other teams, Bruce, what on earth is he smoking? Uncle Bruce. I think it's very funny, very comical, but how much longer is that going to last? Katiara is the only one that seems annoyed with him, but Brando and those other girls that are on the team, and I think Drew is on the team as well, they seem to enjoy him, so we'll see how that is. And Julie is looking good as the mom now with an alliance. And how about Drew telling everyone about his advantage, and then Austin talking about the Beware advantage too. Everyone in the tribe knows how good his trust's going to be because it's a long haul. We'll see. I don't know if that'll come back to hurt Drew. We're looking forward to it, guys. Hoping Yellow can break the curse. And I got to hear Probst's podcast again. Did anyone from the winning tribe go to Yellow where they got to vote? I heard on the Probst podcast about the twist, and it wasn't. We didn't see it on the show. I'll have to check it out. But it was a good episode. Definitely better than the premiere. Hopefully more good episodes to follow. Take care. Woo.
Whoa, thanks, Pete.
Yeah, that was last week, and we talked about that last week.
It was last week. I thought it was going to be an every episode thing, but we didn't get it this week, and they didn't mention it on the podcast again if it did occur and they cut it. So it didn't even come up on the Probst podcast. And there's an extra clip about Bruce. You're talking about Bruce, and he's struggling. He was definitely having some troubles on day 5.
Yep, I predicted that. He was burning way too much unnecessary energy. So.
Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got an email from Brandyn in Indiana.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. What an episode week 2 was. I am genuinely enjoying getting to see at least a little bit of every player in the game each week. I messed up with my vote-off pick because I watched the sneak peek videos on Paramount Plus and saw the one with Drew explaining his kingdom and thought it felt too much like, and so our alliance is in total control now to not be the producers setting him up for a sudden surprising exit. So I changed my vote out from Brandyn to Drew, and what a mistake that was.
They got you.
Yep. An entirely predictable episode for the Lulu tribe, while the producers made good effort to show the Emily turnaround, with Brandyn failing 2 more puzzles and losing his vote. I am unsure that he wouldn't have gone even if Emily hadn't gotten in with Caleb. I love challenges like these past weeks. They look like such fun to compete in, and I enjoyed that the show made a point to say it was a new puzzle. Give me the rest of the season of Katura hating on Bruce behind everyone's backs. That segment was hilarious, and I could see where Bruce's actions could be grating. Speaking of Bruce, that firelight felt like Heidi got lucky he didn't make it to the fire-making challenge. I'd love to see the two of them do a funsies challenge just to see if he's truly that fast or just got a good edit. Lastly, I found it funny this week watching all these banged up knees and scraped up fingers and elbows on just about every player as I thought back to Jabbik Part 1 when Stacy was saying people were using clumsy to say they are down to earth or not a threat or charming. I think they actually all are just clumsy.
Yeah, that appears to be the case.
Yeah.
Or they're going really hard in the challenges.
Yeah. So curious about next week with the Drew tease, but I doubt Reba loses the challenge, so my pick is Emily, sadly. I'm hoping to miss out on points once again, as I think a Caleb and Emily duo would be a lot of fun to follow this season.
Yeah.
So long, and thanks for the podcasts. All right, and thank you, Brandyn. Up next, we have a call from Robert.
Hey, Joanna, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in. Episode 2, and we're seeing the benefits of 90 minutes. All that extra tribe time made for a really great episode. I hope that everyone else enjoyed it as well. Like most people, I was debating between Brandyn and Emily. This episode is my vote off, and I did end up sticking with Brandyn, just thinking if he was going to be too much of a challenge liability, and that turned out to be what sent him home, and I think it was fully cemented when Sabaya got her idol, knowing that she can't use it or retrieve it until she gets fire, and you can't get fire without Flint, and you can't get Flint without winning, and you can't win with Brandyn. So that pretty much settles that, even though Emily in the early part of the episode I think was doing her damnedest to get sent home instead. But I guess she had sort of a redemption arc this episode. At times it sort of felt insincere, like she was pretending to have these kind of emotions and feelings and whatnot. But I don't know, I guess she recognized that she has some faults, but I think the problem is it's just her personality. She's strictly just a logic-based person. But anyway, by the way, I think Brandon's tribe misinterpreted when he said he was a puzzle guy. He isn't a puzzle guy, he's the puzzling guy. Puzzling how someone could be so devoid of any physical ability or even puzzle-solving ability. But you know what? When Brandyn left the game, I don't know if Hannah lowered the bar for me, but I actually had some respect for them. I was like, here's a guy who lived out his dream. He gave it his best, I guess. And hey, he didn't quit the game. He tried to stay there, and he would have stayed there. So good for Brandyn, and I think in some way I respect him, sort of. Did anyone notice what was going on with people's legs this episode? They kept zooming in on their legs. It kind of reminded me of that movie Cabin Fever, where they get flesh-eating disease and there's sores all over their legs. I don't know if that's from the last challenge or just cumulative damage of being out there, but maybe sleeping on trees and stuff like that, but it looked awful. Also, did anyone pick up on when Drew had his advantage and he was talking about safety without power and they showed the text on the screen that they spelt the word safety wrong? I guess in Budget Survivor, they apparently are cutting out some of their editors. And what's going on with Bruce? He's seriously getting wackier by the episode, and maybe he tells a really bad dad joke next week and it causes Jake to faint, so we'll have to wait and see for that. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are on Austin sharing his idol knowledge there with Drew. I don't know, I was kind of disappointed to see that since he's my USB. I was kind of thinking that, I don't know, I think you should only share that information with someone else when you need that agency in the game, and I think he's in a good spot, but I'm curious to see what you guys think and whether or not it was a good move. It's hard to tell by the preview next week, but it looks like maybe it wasn't a great move, but we'll have to see how it plays out in the game. And anyway, that's it for me. You guys just take care.
Thanks, Robert. Good job. It does look like it backfired on him, that Drew's going to take the money and run, that he's going to try to find it first. And
I think he was just trying to build some trust and return the favor and just really get in with somebody.
That is a human tendency. When someone gives you something, you want to give something back. So
saw him as trustworthy. He may not after this week.
That's true. Yeah. How do you think those dynamics will flip if that comes to be? Who are they going to replace Drew with? You got Sifu and J Maya as your choices.
Yep, one or the other.
That's it? That's all you got? Okay. Good deal. Thanks again, Robert. Moving on, we got a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca calling from Maine. Right off the bat, I love that the opening titles are back. It's so exciting to hear the music and see everybody's names, and it's all dramatic. I missed it. I hope they bring Ponderosa videos back too, because I really love those. Loving the 90-minute episodes. It gives us so much more time to connect with each individual player. The extra time devoted to camp life, I think it's invaluable. You really want to learn about and root for all these different contestants, and it's really showing the relationships and how they're working together and how they're bonding, which I really love. So I've got the roster up in front of me. On Bello, I love how the girls have an alliance, but then Kelly has an alliance with the guys too. And we got to see all the little ins and outs of who likes who and who is with who. And Katura, her commentary on Bruce is hilarious. And my question on Bruce is, why is everyone making such a big deal out of somebody who was literally there for, 40 hours last time? He's barely a returning player, but I think he needs to tone it down before everybody gets sick of it, because I don't know, I'm just watching and I'm already sick of it. On Lulu, I loved Emily's redemption arc. I'm wondering if she was told by production to be that antagonistic, because it seemed just a little out there. But I love how Caleb came to her and was, no, you got to tone it down. You're going to go further if you work with people. So it's very good to see it. I like the time devoted to being able to see Sabaya and Sean and Caleb all working together and how they worked so hard to get that idol. We'll more on that later. Oh, Brandyn. Casting made a big boo-boo with some of these Lululemons. Hannah and Brandyn, oh my God, they had no business being out there. On the Reba tribe, I'm warming up to Drew. I like to see how willing he was to work with people. I like Julie very, very much. And does Julie remind anyone of that sweet Mommy Sunday from Gen X versus Millennials? Sunday was so sweet. R.I.P. Sunday. Julie reminds me so much of Sunday. With Drew and Sabaya turning towards their teammates for help with advantages and idols, is that going to help them or hurt them in the end? That's my biggest question, and we'll still see how that plays out. But that leads me to a bigger question. I'd love to know everyone else's thoughts about this. Yes, production has made a couple new puzzles, but is this new era of Survivor so predictable that every single player knows when a boat comes and picks you up, you go off and you get an advantage and you're going to come back with something, so you cannot keep it secret anymore and you have to tell everybody about it right away? I think they need to switch that up pronto because everybody knows what happens, and I think they need a little bit more element of surprise. Really cool how the idols have to be something you work hard for, but maybe it's time to retire Shipwheel Island because everybody knows what happens there. Loving. Thank you, Jeremiah, for the Facebook page. I love Wednesday's discussions with everybody. Thank you, Joanne and Stacy, for all that you do. Everybody have a great day. Bye.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Yeah, I'm over the whole boat thing as well.
I did like that they changed it back so that you have the option of
Yes,
not
I did like that
taking
too.
a risk to lose
I don't know, do something else. I'm tired of that.
Yeah, I guess we can afford it a little more now because we've got the extra time and we were getting some good, rich tribe time this episode. So before, it was a big takeaway. It was a good, 5-10 minutes, something like that, out of the episode. So we were missing out on that tribe time. Now they've got that 20-minute budget that they could spend extra 20 minutes each episode. So I guess I'm not as against it. And to answer her other question, I won't be surprised if someone else ends up using that safety without power, that it's not necessarily Drew. He wants to think that, but I think they could easily force his hand at some point.
Well, he said that, they could use it after the merge, and he didn't say it had to be him. It could be any of them.
And he also said he liked having that, and now he wanted an idol to go with it. Mm-hmm. So, which is the other side. I think he has, initially I thought it was Emily, but I think he has the most potential to be a villain this season. I think he's still tracking that way. Okay. So I guess it doesn't annoy me that it's there as much, but I'd also be fine with it if it went away.
Yeah.
The Shipwheel Island, yeah. That'd be fine.
Yeah,
it was an experiment. We're done. Move on.
Yeah.
Sure. That could work too. All right. Thanks again, Rebecca. Next up, we got an email from Jack in California. Hello, Survivor fans. This second episode was quite a bit better than the first. It was nice to have some of the old school Survivor back with the previously on and theme music introduction with everyone's names. I think it would have been really cool and impressive if J. Maya had found the hidden message when she was looking at the flag without the help from the sheet of paper clue. Lulu wasn't a complete mess as they were during the first episode, but they still have a lot of work to do. If I was in Brandon's position, when it comes to the Beware advantage, I am not sure if I would have given it up. I think it was to show loyalty. That is what he said. I do feel bad for Emily that the entire tribe was working against her getting the idol. Emily's going on a self-reflection journey out there, and I do see that she's trying to improve her attitude in the way she does interact with people. Speaking of gaining trust, why would you give away your shot in the dark? It could have easily backfired, and if it did, would the person gaining it then have 2 shots in the dark to use? Probst actually answered that question on the podcast. Was it on the podcast? No, it was in a Dalton Ross interview. He said, yeah, you would have 2, but you could only use 1 per tribal council. It worked out in Emily's favor, but will she get it back? Yeah, that remains to be seen. The Shipwheel Island-like journey was quite different this time around, and I actually think I like this better than what it was before. I like that it was a choice of trying to solve a puzzle to get an advantage, or don't try it and be fine. I'm pretty impressed with Drew in this episode and how he's been able to work out the puzzle and gain the safety without power advantage, which is something we haven't seen in a while. I have faith that Drew will put this advantage to great use. I like how production and Jeff stated that there can't be back-to-back sit-outs in the challenges this year, and that everyone has to compete in one or the other. I'm glad, but also feel bad for Brandyn to leave. A lot of people feel that way. He did seem like a nice guy, but he was not made for the challenges in this game. With him out, I feel like Lulu may have a chance to win the next challenge. If they do and Bello loses, I can see Bruce going out next because of his crazy antics, which he came into the game wanting to do. Thanks, Jack. Next up, we got a call from Nora.
Hi, Stacy and Joanne. It's Nora in Canada. So happy and enlightened by all the regular and new listeners sharing their wit and wisdom again on your show. It makes my heart sing to hear David in Philly, Pete in Boston, Rebecca, Robert, etc. Especially Rajmi, last year's winner, keeping her picks close to her chest. And Shahin in Australia. Delightful to hear you guys. Congrats on your wedding, Shahin. Brandyn. Brandyn's an example of a kid allowed to sit facing a screen his entire life in front of a Game Boy. Where were his parents all his life? Our mothers, in the dark ages, all kicked us right out of the house on a summer's day, pushed us into baseball and track, etc. Where were his folks? Brandyn pushes himself forward to do the challenge puzzle with zero ability to do puzzles after confirmation that he cannot manage a simple 3-minute game of concentration and the ability to put 3 numbers into a lock. Had he gone to a gym a few times, he might have had the experience of unlocking a locker lock. Everyone loves a golden retriever, but I never would have let my golden retriever open a lock if I was starving and the prize was fishing gear. How can you know you're going on Survivor and not immediately play puzzle games? Games where you have to make blocks, fit in a row, etc. online. They're free online, and they really develop a puzzle-making ability doing them. I totally agree with you, Stacy, that Lulu should have pushed Jeff to let them vote that first week in addition to letting Hannah quit. They're now hungrier and weaker, therefore, than ever. That hunger is on them. They should have decided ahead of the game to block Brandyn from the puzzle in the challenge. I was furious with Lulu letting Brandyn do the puzzle. Speak up, Sabaya, Sean, and Caleb. Cat got your tongues? Emily was hardly in the position to speak up. Bruce is a very nice man, but I think his cracking his head last year might have been a feature, not a bug. His initial bossiness on shelter making that first day, that'll never be forgotten. Smart to turn down lose a vote, though, Bruce. Yes, I'm all in favor of that. I think Emily makes me want to defend social media. People love a redemption, and everyone's expressing that. She's doing all the right things. Humble, criticizing herself. People love her now, though they justly expressed consternation last week. She was great in the balance beam swimming competition. Really looking forward to a Lulu improvement. I'm crazy about Sabaya and Katura, and Julie is one of the most charming people I've ever seen on Survivor. I just love all 3 teams. Drew's a wealthy boy at an Ivy League school, but Drew seems to have no awareness of his privilege. It irks me every time he calls himself smart. If you don't know how lucky you are to have wealthy parents, are you smart? No, I don't think so. Austin or Caleb would be my USB if we were able to choose one late. Thank you so much, Stacey and Joanne, for everything you do. You're just wonderful.
All right. Thanks, Nora.
Well, the one thing we know is that Brandyn has a great memory.
Yeah.
But he just made a mistake matching the 2 tiles. He picked the wrong tile. He matched it up wrong.
Yeah, they were close.
So the numbers he was working with were not the correct numbers. But there's an extra clip for those of you who haven't seen it out there. And he only missed one in 42 seasons. Was it 43?
44 or 43?
No, 43.
Yeah.
In 43 seasons, he named every single person but one who was voted out second.
That was when he and Emily were waiting on Caleb and Sabaya and Sean to deliberate. That's what they thought. They were actually out there getting that idol for Sabaya. But yeah, there was an extra scene. He got featured at one of the things that he could really demonstrate as a super fan. I thought that was a nice little nod for him.
Yes, that was nice, and it was nice to see.
Yeah.
So obviously his memory's fine, but
in his interviews he talked about how he was just admittedly worthless under pressure. He tended just to
I'm
immediately
not that good
fold.
under pressure with that kind of thing either.
Yep.
My mind goes blank, so I can't say anything. But anyway, that's an interesting video.
Yeah, it was nice they did that for him.
Yeah, it was.
To Nora's other point, he said that he was in the wings waiting to go for, what was it, 6 years or something, like 5, 6 years
I
or
don't
more
know.
that he had been talking to casting. That's so much time to prep. That's so much time to prep when you're that close on all these different facets.
Yeah.
And we saw what he brought to the game with all that prep time. Thanks, Nora. Next up, we got a call from Nicola-n-Jackson.
All right.
Hi, Survivor family. This is Nicola and
Jackson!
woo, special appearance by Jackson. It is Thursday night here in Kentucky, and we actually just finished watching last night's episode, and I stayed away from social media today so I wasn't spoiled. Although I did get a vote out point. It's probably my first vote out point. I don't know. I don't even think I got one
Congrats.
last season. I'm happy about that. We enjoyed the episode, yeah?
Yeah, especially all the smashing the thingies.
Oh, smashing the key, to get the
Yeah.
keys, jumping into the ocean.
Yep.
I bet that felt good on their legs. We did notice that they were eaten up like crazy. Almost all of them. Around their knees and their shins and everything were real bad.
Bet they had a fun time jumping off like a 3 feet jump.
I think it was a bit higher than 3 feet.
Whatever.
And the only other thing I thought, and I have not listened to feedback, so I don't know if you mentioned this either. I think if I was Sabaya, I would have taken that candle to Tribal, and when I walked into Tribal, I would have thrown it into the flame so that while we were talking, the candle would melt, and then I would grab my idol out, and then by the time it came around to vote, I would have my vote as well. Wouldn't have saved Brandon, or maybe she would have still voted for Brandon. I don't know.
Or she could have just lit it up in the torches that they bring with them.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Like she could have just grabbed the idol, melted it on their wall.
Oh, yeah, on their torch. Huh. Yep, that too.
Well, I guess she didn't get the right going.
Nope.
So she really did
That's
not
it.
know what to do.
So, all right, well, that's about it from us. We look forward to listening to everybody's feedback. We're gonna do outside chores here in Kentucky. The weather finally cooled down from 85 degrees yesterday to 72 today, and it's gonna be cooler tomorrow. So, time to start getting stuff done before winter arrives. And Jackson goes back to school next week. All right, thanks for all you do, Joanne and Stacy. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Say bye, Jackson.
Bye!
Thanks, Nicola. Thanks, Jackson. Good job. Nicola had one quick additional note. She says, hi, everyone. Just a quick follow-up. I was impressed with Emily managing her turnaround. I almost called last week at minute 40 to say I wouldn't make it through the season if she stayed. But credit where credit is due. She self-corrected very well. She did indeed. Thanks, Nicola. I did see a lot of discussion online about that, about the Sabaya alternatives for melting the candle, and I guess the consensus is it has to be with an earned flame.
Yeah.
Either from the wind when they get the flint finally, or a friction fire that they've started themselves, but not an easy gimme like that. But I like those two creative options. That was fun. Good job. Next up, we got an email from Mary in Maryland.
Hi, everyone. Short feedback this week as I've had several extra things to do this week and haven't even gotten to listen to the recap episode yet.
What?
I think that's a first. First off, seeing the opening sequence with the theme was awesome. Thanks, Survivor producers, for giving that to us longtime fans.
Amen.
We've missed it. Well, hooray. I got my first vote off point, and I suspect that many others did as well. I just could not see how that yellow team could possibly win a challenge over the other two teams. While it was an obvious boot, I still found the episode engaging with lots of fun little storylines. Now that Brandyn is out, I feel like the teams are more evenly matched, and which team will go to Tribal Council next week is totally up in the air. I really have no idea who to choose. I'll listen to the feedback show to see what everyone else is thinking. Some brief impressions on the castaways so far. I honestly like everyone except for Kendra, and Bruce would be okay if he laid low, but he's trying way too hard. The man is going to exhaust himself and burn out with the extreme antics. I love Katura's keeping it real with how annoyingly over the top Bruce has been. I hope he calms down and allows himself to find a natural place in the tribe. I like everyone on the Red Tribe, even Drew is tolerable, and I thought he was going to be pretty annoying. I like how he's making connections with the different combinations of people on the tribe. Sifu is pretty pleasant to me as well, although I know others feel he's a bit much. I just love Sabaya and Caleb. They seem like great people. I hope I get to watch them for a while. Sean seems pretty great as well. Off to listen to the recap. All right, thanks, Mary. Up next, we've got a call from Drew.
Hey, Joanna, Stacey. Hey, everyone. This is Drew. First week, I did get my picks in. I did pick the worst possible USB, but at least they were in. To give you a hint, as of now, I have no USB 24. But then I didn't get my feedback in last week because I didn't even get a chance to watch the episode until like Sunday night, I think. But I'm caught up now. I watched it last night, listened to your recap this morning. So I actually really like this cast generally so far, with a few exceptions. I think that Emily, I don't really get the hate for Emily. I mean, I see how she's kind of direct and not super socially savvy, but I don't think she's that bad. I'm glad she was kind of able to get it back together today. Oh, yeah, the other thing I forgot to do this week was put in my picks until like 2 minutes past the deadline. Of course, that's how it goes. My rollovers were terrible because I had Brandyn safe and I had Emily to go. So it was almost that, and then it just was the total opposite. So either I was going to lose my USB and lose a save point, or I was going to save both. So yeah, like I said, the season's going so far so good. Some good personalities, kind of some normal people, you know what I mean? That's kind of nice. I don't see a ton of actors. It's hard to tell, but it sounds like a lot of them are kind of COVID recruits, like COVID fandom, I should say, as far as binging. So that's kind of unfortunate, but it could be they have a lot of really fresh perspective on the game because they've just recently done a ton of watching. So that could be good. I just want to say Julie and Drew are on the same tribe, and so every time they say Drew and Julie, if you don't know, my wife's name is Julie. So we're getting hearing our names a lot on Survivor, even though the dynamic between them is completely different. Yeah, I have no idea what's going to happen next. I think that Lulu probably will rally now that Brandyn is gone. Okay, I was just talking to Julie, as a matter of fact, and I can't imagine worse casting, okay? Yeah, it's his dream, sure. It's a million people's dream, okay? But it was almost like a joke, you know what I mean? Like, almost like prank casting. So that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and I mean, he's gone, so it's fine, but like his final word, what? It's like really bad Survivor writing. If someone was writing like the worst possible final words, like possible character, like I hope you do better than I did, it's impossible not to, man. You couldn't possibly do worse. Anyway, we'll see next week. I have no idea. So I'm looking forward to the feedback. And thank you everyone for the kind words about my payment for the side challenge. I swear I'm not trying to sing again. I swear, like, the hardest part is just the low-key anxiety through the whole off-season of putting the words together. I don't mind singing. Of course, newfound respect for Steven Tyler, and thank you again, Rebecca. And thanks, everyone. It was a lot of fun. So hope you all have a great weekend. Talk to you later. Bye.
Awesome. Thanks, Drew.
So Drew doesn't think that Brandon's going to be offered a writing job? Is that what he's saying?
People are already paying Brandyn, I guess, for writing. He describes himself as a writer.
I know.
So, but I loved what Drew said.
Think he
it was the worst written version of an exit.
He's trying to do a David Wright, or...
well, that's a swing and a miss.
Rafe has been good as well. So, Survivor people that get good writing jobs in Hollywood.
Sure, yeah.
That's what I thought he was shooting for. So
yeah, I guess memorable. He'll have that going for him potentially.
Absolutely.
It's like, wow, we never thought we'd see anyone do that poorly. In his exit interviews, he was really positive. He was still just beaming at the opportunity and the experience, and he loved his 5 days.
Well, we all know we've had fans do very poorly one season and get invited back and do well and win.
Yeah, I feel kind of like Drew in some ways. It's like it's almost like he was cast out of spite. It's like, you want a super fan? Here's your super fan. Now, you happy? You got a quitter and a 0. Shut up about the super fans in casting. I wouldn't be surprised if that was a discussion at some point. It just has that feel to it. Anyway, thanks, Drew. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. It's David in Pittsburgh. Well, I've just rewatched the last episode of Survivor, and to see the demoralized faces of the Lulu team, it's just so hard to watch. After one player, whose name I'm not even going to mention, quit the show and then be perky and chipper and happy in every interview, anything else that she's done on social media, which really aggravates me. And then that brings us up to Brandyn, who was just a liability all the way around. Physically, he was the weakest member of the tribe. And I can't believe that he even bothered to go to a gym and get ready for this experience of a lifetime. And it could have been panic attacks and anxiety, but physically that was not his forte. But he told everybody he was the puzzle master, and he never, ever. I mean, I watched the final challenge where he and Sabaya were working on puzzle. By the way, she didn't do a very good job either, but he, again, failed at that. I have to give him credit. He did find the beware advantage, but as soon as he got it, he pushed it off on Sabaya. He just wasn't a strategic player, and we could see how Emily was working at trying to improve her position in the team. I think Brandyn just thought he was a likable guy, and that was going to keep him in the game, and he was loyal. But what? I don't get it. How somebody's got to go, and if you're going to be holding the team back, if they had voted Emily out, I honestly would have said, okay, just keep on losing. I wash my hands of this team, but I hope that by voting Brandyn out, that now they're going to start at least win one challenge. And by the way, here we go again with spilling every secret that you've got. We see on Lulu, everybody tells everybody everything. At least on the Red Tribe, only Austin and Drew, I think, know about each other's advantages. But once again, don't they watch the show? Can't they see that every time you open your mouth, it's going to go from one person, could be to another. So here again, everybody's giving out all the information, all the power that they have. And I'll say it again, I said this last week, Caleb is my biggest surprise. I thought he was going to be another cocky dude like JT, and I think he's playing a really good game. He physically doing a good job. Strategically, he's working now, bringing Emily into the fold. I just think he's doing really well. Hopefully next week, Lulu, you're going to win. I'm rooting for you. Talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Thanks, David. So as far as we know, everybody on the Red Tribe on Reba knows about Drew's safety without power advantage, but Austin has only told Drew about his beware advantage that would become an immunity idol.
Yeah, as far as we know.
Next up, we got an email from Tara Jean from way upstate New York. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to get in the mix and discuss the new season with all of you. As much as I was pulling for Brandyn to stage a comeback like Aubrey, and I still feel he could have become a good strategist, I had to pick him as my vote out for his early performance, and I got full points for the second week in a row. Yay! Good job. I really hope Lulu can finally pull off some kind of win, or there's an early tribe shakeup. I really think they may shift the tribes this season, and I would love to see it happen because Sabaya is my USB. I'm not convinced that Sabaya and Emily will mend fences. If they continue to butt heads, they will both lose in the end. I'm hoping the preview for episode 3 is a red herring. If Sabaya gets worried about Caleb becoming close with Emily and makes an impulsive move, her whole game could blow up. Oh no. Emily did surprise me in this episode. She could end up in a decent spot if Lulu can avoid losing and she keeps Caleb close. I still get the feeling it was really hard for her to socialize, and sometimes it looked very forced for her to make amends. I agree. It was a great move to give Sabaya her shot in the dark, though. Joanne, you wondered in the recap if Sabaya could use that shot in the dark herself. According to Marianne from season 42 on Rob C's podcast, she actually can, but she can't use two in the same tribal. On another note, the new intro was fun. By the way, Jeff stated on his podcast that there is an Easter egg hidden in the new intros. I took a look back and it's very close to the end of the sequence. It was the Beware advantage in this episode. He said it's a little hint about the important parts of the episode. I hope they might give us clues to future episodes as well. I also would love to see another tribe lose next week so we can see more from everyone else. I think it seems like a great cast so far. I really like Brando and Kelly. I almost picked Brando as my USB, and I just love him so far. Bruce is going to wear on people very quickly, I think. When he put on his little show after the challenge by walking off the dock, I was irritated just watching on TV, so I can only imagine dealing with that 24/7. He seems self-absorbed and inauthentic. They may be keeping him for strength temporarily, but I don't see him making the merge. I feel the same about Sifu. J Maya actually seems like she wants to play, which surprised me. I'm happy Julie made some connections too. Drew still seems shady to me, and judging from the clips from the next episode, he could cause a shakeup in that alliance. I cannot stand his arrogance. One last thing I wanted to mention ties in with what Stacy said in the recap about making fire with eyeglass lenses. I just happened to rewatch the first episode of season 38, where Joe and Aubrey make fire immediately using the friction method with bamboo. It bugs me that everyone just seemed to be waiting for a flint, especially Lulu after 5 days. I'm disappointed that Sabaya wasn't trying to start a fire any way possible once she needed it for her idol in the candle. Does anyone else miss seeing them at least try to make fire on their own? I do. Anyway, I have no idea what will happen next week. I'm hoping everyone's feedback will give me a clue. Also, who has surprised you all so far for the better or worse? That's it for me. I can't wait to hear from everyone and get to know you all. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for everything you do. Thank you, Tarjean. Good job.
Absolutely, Jake. I didn't think he would do anywhere near as well as he seems to be.
Who's impressed you the most? Yeah. Okay.
Well, I didn't say the most, just different from what I thought he would. And I didn't think J Maya would be very good, at... I actually didn't think she'd really want to play the game very hard, because I thought she was there again for the publicity angle.
Right.
But she is playing more than I thought she would.
Yes.
And I thought Sifu would be better, because I thought he seemed a lot sweeter and all, but he's still kind of playing up, being goofy, doing parkour off trees, and I thought, oh, he's
got
just
some serious
wanting,
look at me vibes.
Some attention.
Yeah.
As well. And Caleb surprised me the most. I too thought he would be arrogant or would not play well.
Yeah, and we haven't even seen him at full power yet. If he makes it to the merge, which I think there's a good chance he will, but if he does, that's when I think we'll see him turn it all on.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see how he deals with the larger group like that.
And the verdict on Drew is still out.
Good deal. Thanks again, Tarjean. Next up, we got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana, and I really liked this episode, actually. I thought it was a lot of fun. I loved that we got a confessional from every single player. That's crazy. That's unheard of. It was just a lot of fun seeing, visiting all the tribes, seeing the dynamics come into play, watching Kelly and Brando kind of be put in the perfect middle position on the blue tribe, and then watching Drew kind of become a key part of this red tribe, which I didn't expect. He just came off so awkward in his interviews that I was like, I don't know how this Drew guy's gonna do. He seems to be doing really well. I mean, he's got Julie, he's got Austin, and he's got the other girls on that tribe too, apparently. It's really just Sifu on the bottom. He's just doing his Sifu thing, and I'm loving it. Those two tribes seem so fun. I'm hoping that we get a tribe swap before merge, and I hope it's more than just a one-person swapping, because I think that would be really interesting to see how that shakes up these tribes, especially blue and red, who I feel like aren't going to go to tribal council anytime soon, because yellow is such a mess, which, oh boy, this yellow tribe. So making my picks this week, I was certain. It seemed like from the exit interviews that Emily was going to be voted out. So surely if they go back to tribal council, they'd stick with that same game plan, right? So even if they lose again, Brandyn is very loyal. So surely he'd be fine, right? So why don't I just make him safe this week because he's probably getting voted out next week. But in the meantime, why don't I play bold, as Stacy has taught me to do, and make Brandon safe in this episode so that I can use a safe point on the guy before he gets voted out next week. Doesn't that make sense? I guess not. I'm kind of glad that Caleb really worked with Emily and reined her in because, one, Caleb is my winner pick, and that's some really good gameplay from Caleb to now have Emily on his side because he's one of the only people that gave her the time of day. So that's really good. But also at the same time, oh my gosh, Brandon's gonna get voted out. I'm gonna be at the bottom of the side challenge. Yikes. It was a good episode. I wasn't a fan of Shipwheel Island. I think that was unnecessary, especially because in this tribal council, 2 people couldn't vote. There are only 3 votes. Whenever something like that happens, I don't like it. That just feels wrong because I think everybody should have a vote. Beware advantages are fine. They're not that bad. I thought it was super funny that it's a wax idol and they don't have a fire. That's hilarious. If one person doesn't have a vote, okay, sure, whatever. But when it's 2 people, sometimes it's like 3 people at one tribal don't have a vote. In situations like this, that is such a mess and I hate it. You're breaking the game because so few people have votes and it's stupid. Other than that, really good episode, really fun. I'm looking forward to next week. Hopefully I do better in JSFL and I don't lose any more save points. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. That's all I got. I will see you all next time.
All right. Thanks, Parker.
But do you feel better now, Parker, after listening to Drew? Because you're in the bottom together.
There you go. You got a buddy.
And you
How's
both lost a point for Brandon. So, no problem.
I commend your bold gameplay. It doesn't always work, but sometimes it's worth it. Next up, we got a call from Shahin.
Hi, John, Stacey, and Total Survivor fans. Hope everyone is well. I think we've had a great start to the season now. I think the rule change with not being able to compete in back-to-back before challenges has been a great change, welcome change, especially since last season with Claire. I think that kind of really doubled down on that change and needing to be made. Jeff, us fans were really upset with what we were seeing with Claire, but then I think Jeff being visibly upset towards the end of her tenure in the show, I think really pushed the change to be made. I think the puzzles and the addition of the new puzzles, has been really good to see, which is kind of informing us, I think, that they're listening to the fans. I mean, they've been listening to the fans here and there, but we were really upset in the first 3 seasons of the show since its remakes, 41 to 43, new era. So I think they've been trying to get that balance right. And yes, I think this comes in and ties in with all these TV moments because it all revolves around Jeff. Jeff ultimately wants to make something that is TV moments worthy, and whether that's trying something new and seeing if that hits the fan and flies off or does it stick to the wall, that's what he's going to try to do, and then they're not afraid to make these choices. And I think they're willing to cop the flack, whether it's been with fire tokens or Ghost Island or Redemption Island, whatever wacky idea he has, he's going to try it. And that ultimately comes through, and it doesn't stray away from them also being wacky when it comes to casting either. And this is what shocks me, is out of all these seasons, why does it happen to be that this character Brandyn has been put in their pocket for 6 seasons? Look, I think they have to keep mind of mental health. That has to be at the foremost of their mind when they make these decisions. Were they banking on Brandyn being a hit and miss type character? Because you're dealing with someone's mental health ultimately. This poor guy will go down as one of the worst contestants in Survivor history, along with someone like Claire. It's not been good for them. Ultimately, we're seeing something that's not healthy, and I think they need to take a step back and identify what they've done wrong in the casting process to think that choosing these types of characters is a good idea. Because do you want good TV moments or do you want bad TV moments? I think this has been a bad TV moment. The 2 casting, I think put both of them into that bucket. Don't think either of them have been good. And I think that's my only gripe this week, to be honest, apart from imbecile and drunk uncle that you have to put to bed at 7 o'clock, not 9 o'clock. So yeah, thank you very much and hope you all have a great day.
I like that play on Basil to imbecile. Nice. Good deal. Thanks, Shahin. Next up, we got an email from Justin in Michigan.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy and all the super fans. Now, that was a Survivor episode. From the awesome return of the ancient voices, castaway intros, to a nail-biting and compelling tribal council, and everything in between. This is the sort of content I expected when the 90-minute episodes were announced. We got to see a lot of fun camp life moments, great strategy play out, and some of the potential alliances from all three tribes. What a bounce-back week for Emily. Acknowledging her faults of being too aggressive and blunt early on and trying to improve with some coaching from Caleb was great to see from my USB. I'm not feeling as terrible about her now going forward. Lulu made the right choice voting out Brandyn, and I think they might finally avoid tribal council next week without him weighing them down in the challenges. I'm going to have Bruce going out this week for JSFL. The story I've come up with in my head is that Katurah will lead the charge to take him out after they lose the challenge. There was a lot of Bruce bashing and eye rolls from Katurah this week, so I'm leaning into that being shown as foreshadowing. Really looking forward to how it all shakes out and listening to what everyone else has to say. All right, thanks, Justin. Up next, we have a call from Aaron.
It's Aaron in Ontario. Just wondering why they didn't use Brandon's glasses to melt the candle. Even if there's no wax, I would have been. You would think, focusing the sun, I would have been sitting on that thing all day if I had to just to get that out. Or maybe I'm missing something.
Hey, Aaron. Yeah, I've wondered about that many times before, and you have to have the right kind of glass in your glasses. Well, one, you have to have glass, I think. That's important. And then two, it needs to be...
You mean versus some type of plastic?
Plastic. And yeah, most of them aren't glass anymore. Most of the lenses that we have are some kind of polymer, I think. And then it has to be... Oh, I always get this backwards. I think it has to be concave. Most of us are nearsighted, and I think that's what Brandyn had too, and that kind of lens won't focus it. I think he was trying to use the bead of water to help with that, but you need to... I may have it backwards. It's either convex or concave.
I'm just the opposite of that.
Yeah, so yours with if it had actual glass in it, might work.
These are just readers.
But so the point is, you got to have the right lens, and that's in the past there have been castaways who had one of the lenses in their glasses swapped out just so they had this very thing, at least one. So you got to have the right kind, for the ones for farsightedness, not nearsightedness, and then it needs to be the actual glass.
These are very expensive. They went up. I had to pay an extra 25 cents at the dollar store because they've gone up.
Yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb and say those probably wouldn't work, but we can give it a test. Thanks, Aaron. Next up, we got a call from Marla.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Hi, Survivor friends. This is Marla from Illinois. I just finished rewatching the Tribal Council, and I kind of felt that Emily's self-awareness was a little bit redemptive for her when she said when she watched it on TV it was going to be really difficult. I thought that was sort of an interesting comment that gives me a little bit of hope for her. Brandyn had that thing that I believe Stacy used to say, I've fallen and I can't shut up, where the things he was saying just kept digging him in deeper and deeper and deeper. There was no one who was going to get voted out but him. I wish him well. I think it must have been difficult to realize that there was so little on Survivor that he was actually capable of doing. Sarah's feedback was that she felt a lot of sympathy for Kendra during that balance beam challenge. Sarah's a gymnast, and she audibly gasped during that part, which I think probably a lot of us did as well. I enjoyed this episode much more than the first one. I got my vote out point, so despite losing my USB last week, I'm hopeful. I hope you're all doing well. Joanne and Stacy, thanks for all you do, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Thanks, Marla, and we appreciate that extra insight from Sarah, too. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the plush moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, Houston, we have a problem. 2 episodes down, and Lulu continues to stink up the joint. I blame production for giving us 2 players who shouldn't have been there on a tribe built to fail. I propose 2 pregame changes to prevent future occurrences of this. First, take a page from D&D. Have the players perform a series of tests in categories like strength, speed, balance, and puzzle solving. Assign them attribute points for each and use the values to pick roughly equal tribes. There should also be a "you must be this tall to go on the ride" test for minimum capability before getting assigned to a tribe. Second, stop coddling the players during quarantine. Have them sleep in individual lean-tos. Give them a pot, a machete, and a flint, plus a reduced calorie amount of island-type food, and have them do some physical tasks each day. If they can't hack it, send in the alternate. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Here are my other observations. Lulu's losing streak is almost as long as Dee's toe. Nice tie together. That's some very comedic connective tissue there. When Bruce is done with Survivor, he can compete on the Gong Show. Yeah, that's exactly where his vaudeville act belongs, huh? Lulu's puzzle reminded me of Charlie Brown's Sad Little Christmas Tree. Hannah's portion of the intro lasted longer than she did in the game. That's good. How fitting. The producers stepped up their game. New puzzle. Varied beware task. If life gives you lemons, make a lemon of a tribe. Katura raised Cain about Bruce's name drop. Nice. Yeah, that was the name too, wasn't it? He worked them all three in. Caleb stole the buddy system concept from Boston Rob. I wonder if the producers chose to give the candle idol to the one tribe without fire. It does make you wonder, huh? That's perfect. That finally paid off. Brandon's pitfalls, pratfalls, and patter gave me a strong vibe of early Woody Allen. Emily brought a bazooka to a tea party. Does she bring biscuits to a battle? Like Charlie Brown, Brandon was wishy-washy. Should he keep his vote or risk it? Emily's rebirth looks like the start of a potential winner's edit. Drew's hoping for a challenge that includes dunking basketballs. Brandon should have had a black zigzag pattern on his yellow shirt. Good grief. Drew was disappointed by his surprise party. He had hoped for cake and party hats. Brando looked quite fetching in his bellow buff halter top. Drew wants to be Steven to Austin's JT. He wants to be a 0-vote finalist.
That's what I thought.
I'm glad that the sit-out bench is no longer covered in crazy glue. It cracked me up that the fishing gear came with rustic wooden fishing manual. That was a sweet manual, too. The extra video on that is worth checking out because it shows them how to make fish baskets and how to throw the nets, and they got just a ton of gear. Why did all the heat for the puzzle fall on Brandon? Sabaya helped too. Uncle Bruce does the robot. Sean does the ants in the pants dance. When Brandon got voted off for being bad, he said he had always wanted this. He's weird. Emily took a shot in the dark by giving her shot in the dark to Sabaya. Brandon may be the bomb socially, but he really bombed at challenges. Jeff was a water boy in school. Did he talk like Adam Sandler while handing out the H2O? Next time, get ready for a camp raid. Drew digs a hole for himself, and Jake collapses near the fire. Does he go full scooping? Let's hope not.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. Can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Good job. Got some zingers in there. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, everybody. It's Jeremiah here with some feedback for this week's episode, which I believe was a fantastic one. Obviously much better than our premiere where we had someone, of course, go out of the game so early. So yeah, I feel like everybody is feeling that this was a really solid episode. And poor Brandon, oh my goodness. Well, we saw the writing on the wall. We knew this poor kid wasn't going to probably be in the game for long. But I appreciate the fact that he was able to fight as much as he could to try to stay in the game. That was really nice to see. The thing is this type of architect, unfortunately, struggles a lot of times in Survivor. You think about in Ghost Islands where we had Jacob Durham, who had a very similar outcome going out second, where it's just hard. I think they get so overly excited and they're just not they think they are going to be good at the game, but then they're not. I think that that's just how it goes a lot of times, but I really am glad that he had his moment, his experience. But we got to talk about the real star of the show, I felt like, which was Emily. That's right, my girl Emily, the one Emily stand over here, everyone. It's paying off for me to be a fan. No, it was super impressive to see what she was able to do in this episode to change things around, change the direction of her game, and just mix up her social game. It was unbelievable to really watch if you think about it. And how impressive was that to use the one thing you had, which was your shot in the dark, to use as collateral to say, hey, listen, trust me. I mean, that was just brilliant gameplay move. So not only was it impressive to watch her transformation, but also to see the really good gameplay to keep herself in the game, because in all rights, most of the time, that person goes home. So extremely impressive to watch what's going on with Emily. And it's going to be interesting to watch this tribe carefully. I know the teaser for next week makes me now concerned maybe for your USB, Joanne. I wonder if it's going to backfire, because I don't know if she realizes how close Emily and Caleb has gotten. But anyway, so that a lot of the yellow tribe, but I really appreciate it. But I will say that once again, the editors have done such a great job of giving us a good balance to what's going on in all of our tribes. So we're really utilizing that 90 minutes for a lot more than just, of course, getting the title card back. No, we're really getting a really good stuff. Fascinating to see what's going on with Drew and his new Stephen JT alliance with Austin. That's going to be something to definitely watch for sure. And then, of course, in this blue tribe, we have my USB, or a lot of people's USB, Kelly, is right in the middle of things. So that should be really fascinating to see how that plays out. And that leads to my predictions. I'm starting to wonder if maybe that's the storyline we're going next week. And we will get a conclusion here. And it makes me wonder if maybe one of the boys could be in trouble, or maybe the girls. It'll be interesting to see which direction Brando and Kelly do go. So that's my prediction. Outside of that, it's either, Joanne, your USB. But that's it for me. You guys take care. Until next time, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
All right. Thanks, Jeremiah. I like that. He really nailed it. Zeroed in. It's going to be one of the boys or one of the girls that will be voted out this next week.
Yep.
Good stuff.
I can handle it, Jeremiah.
You're ready to let her go?
If that's the way it turned out. Sure. What choice do you have? I lost my USB early last season, too. It was like, yeah, okay, whatever. At least in time to at least choose another one. Next, we have a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. Oh, opening sequence music. I have missed you. I love that the opening music and the slow-mo action shots of all the players is back. I forgot just how that music makes me so excited about watching an episode of Survivor. It just gets me in the mood and gets me ready to go. And they started off with that beautiful orange and blue sunrise of Fiji that I just love. This episode had such a different vibe than the premiere, and I couldn't be happier. Now, I wanted Emily to go home this episode in the beginning, but I was one of those who chose Brandyn to go home. I switched my vote-out pick at the last minute, and Emily, in the beginning, just still couldn't get out of her own way. But about halfway through this episode, I found myself saying, "Oh, Emily, I am starting to like you." I love a good redemption arc, and she really seemed to be having an awakening and was really focused and determined on turning her game around. So good on her. I think the right vote was absolutely Brandyn, and I think that the Lulu tribe is as strong as it possibly can be right now, which is not that strong, but hey, I think they've gotten rid of all of the truly dead weight. The Reba tribe is continuing to dominate, and I'm happy to see that. There are no weak links there on that tribe for challenges, and come to think of it, really no weak links that I can see in Bello either. I liked hearing a lot from Drew this episode. He's going to be our confessional guy, I can tell. And regarding the Reba tribe, the more that Survivor can not focus on feet, the happier I will be. I'm impressed with J. Maya. I know she's not the strongest person on the tribe. I know she's a little bit of the low end on the totem pole, but I thought she was going to be a model type, and she's really into the game. I think she's truly a fan. At least she's fooling me if she's not. And over on the Bello tribe, Bruce is acting like he's some famous player. Where is the humility? He is not a returning player. It's just annoying me. Brando is a very personable guy, and he's intelligent, and he's making inroads with the girls, and I like his position in the tribe right now. And the last thing I have in my notes, and it's all in caps, is Hannah was not voted out. She quit. At the challenge, when Probst said that Hannah was voted out, I was really disappointed. I feel like that is him manipulating the game. I don't know why he was so eager to hide the fact that Hannah quit and suggest to all of the other players that she was actually voted out. There was no vote. Anyway, I don't want to end on a negative note. This was a really great episode. I don't really have any like winners and losers or leaders or anything like that. I think almost everybody was entertaining to watch and gave it their all this episode. No complaints here. Happy that the second episode was a good one. I'm looking forward to hearing everyone's thoughts on this episode and their predictions. Maybe give me some insights. That's all from me. Till next week.
All right. Thanks, Jen.
Well, technically, there was a verbal vote because Probst manipulated it so.
Well, he polled everyone, and they said they would go ahead and vote for
and he has done that before. So, you know, that's why I was a little bit disgusted by that myself, because then we had to give it because he did manipulate and everyone agreed to vote her out. So it was technically a vote, but we all, I think, I don't know of any fan who doesn't think of it as a quit in their head, because it was a quit.
I think he even said she quit, but he did have them verbally vote.
Yes, and I think that's why he said it that way in this episode, to make it clear that she was voted out. Because, and Hannah voted out. Because I reacted to that too. But technically, what else you got? Did we cover everything? Who you voting for next week to go?
Well, I'm still letting it all percolate. I don't know that I've had enough time to take in what everybody said, so I'm factoring it, thinking about it right now.
I do think if Bello loses, Bruce goes.
And not Jake. Katura's already targeted Jake. She's got people online to take Jake out, and Jake has some kind of issue, according to what we've seen.
No, it was Kendra that targeted Jake, not Katura.
Ah, fair enough. But she's
okay going along with it, but Bruce is annoying her way more. And I think she will, push to get him out, and especially because we saw from the commercials that his energy is finally crashing.
It wasn't a commercial, it was an extra video.
Oh, extra video. Well, whatever we were watching.
A deleted scene is what they call it on EW.com.
Okay. Is that, his energy is like all of a sudden.
Although he did
and because
well
he's been
in the
so
challenge.
Up, everybody notices right away, whoa, what's up with Bruce,
When he starts to drag. Yep.
And that's the danger of doing that, it's highlighted even more if you're having a bad day.
Yep.
But anyway, he annoys me, so I'm voting for him to go. I want him to just play the game.
Poor gamesmanship.
You've got game, but you're not showing it because you're hiding behind all the excess energy and goofiness, and you're not being authentic, or it doesn't feel that way to me in any way. And he's annoying me too. So I'm on board with Katura. I'd vote him out first just because the annoyance factor, and because Jake is doing good in challenges. So, and nobody else likes him, so he's a good one to have around because they don't want to keep an attorney. So
he offers. He's an attorney shield. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point for sure. The funny thing is about Probst bringing the rule in, you can't sit out back to back, is that this next episode, they actually do have two challenges where normally that would have been in effect in its normal way like we're used to.
Yeah.
Now you got to remember between episodes the way this is going to go. So there's going to be a reward challenge. There's going to be an immunity challenge. And it looks like the immunity challenge has a puzzle in it. So I'm still not sure that Lulu is going to come out okay, even though their chances are greatly improved with the 2 dead weights dropped and gone. There's a big physical element, and then you've got to solve a puzzle which also is physically demanding.
Oh, yeah, so it was one of the heavy puzzle
pieces. The big blocks.
Pieces. Yeah,
that's three-dimensional.
Yeah.
So I'm wavering on if Lulu's going to go back or not.
We don't know yet if there is anyone on Lulu who can do puzzles because they've let Brandyn be in there, and obviously Sabaya didn't do well in the puzzle either. So I'd let her move puzzle pieces, though you would think that they would have Caleb do that and maybe Sean. But Sabaya's probably bigger than Sean. I don't know if she's stronger, though.
Yeah.
So, but anyway. And who would go home from red? I would have said Julie, hands down, but Sifu would...
They had a majority alliance that included Julie, so she could have been safe.
Yep, could be. But I would have always said they would keep Sifu for his strength,
physicality.
But I don't know how much he's going to pay off, and especially if they lose and he was moving puzzle pieces around.
I say if they lose, Jeremiah goes. If they're able to maintain the alliance. Drew getting busted by Dee and Julie, that puts that all up in the air, though. So, there's lots of question marks. Fortunately, we got some different takes on things to consider in the listener feedback this week. But I'm still
if
not
Drew
100%
has an idol,
decided.
if he does indeed find the idol that Austin made him aware of, how would that affect Austin's vote? Would he then get a vote back since he can't get the idol? Or will Drew tell him he has it but not share it? Or I don't know how that's going to work. We'll just have to wait and see.
Pretty sure he'll get the vote once the idol's found. It's a series of tasks, and he doesn't get to vote until it's found.
Yeah, that's the harder choice, I think, is...
those wild cards. So you've got Drew with a Beware Advantage, no vote. Sorry, Austin with a Beware Advantage, no vote. Drew with safety without power, so he could always just check himself out if he felt threatened in any way.
Sabaya's got
Beware Advantage and no vote. And the blue Beware Advantage has not been found yet.
And unless she finds a way to I would, at the very least, find a way to go off by myself and sit out in the hottest part of the day with that candle and try to melt it.
With as black as rock as I could find and sit it on there. Yeah.
I mean, or even take the machete out there. She, I guess, can't cut it, but wouldn't the metal draw more sunlight to it and more heat?
It's not reflective.
Yeah, but wouldn't it absorb some of the heat and get hotter?
I don't think enough for that. Where she could really...
I would try something.
Where she might really luck out, and I don't think they're allowed to keep that, but if you got a water bottle that was clear enough, that wasn't already filmy and obscured, you can start a fire with water inside of a water bottle. It actually happens in people's cars quite frequently. You can have a full bottle of water in your car, and the sun will come through, catch it, and then up in flames.
Not mine. I put ice in mine and park under a shade tree.
Well, if you're under a shade tree, then you've mitigated the risk. But otherwise, that's something you always need to be cognizant of. That can really cause you trouble. I don't think they're allowed to keep those if they find them, though. Otherwise, we'd see them more frequently. Because that kind of debris shows up.
Yeah.
It's not like a loan where they're allowed to utilize whatever debris that they find.
So I guess the red tribe, if they end up going to tribal...
I say Jeremiah goes.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet.
They'll keep Sifu, and Drew can save himself in that alliance of Austin, Dee, and Julie. And they would let Sifu know. That's how I think it might go in that regard.
Okay. And if Lulu loses, who's going to go?
I think that's going to backfire on Sabaya.
Yeah.
I think if she's scheming on Caleb a little bit, even if it's not a real plan, it's going to shake him when Emily tells him that. And because he's invested in Emily and Emily's invested in him, and that'll really backfire. Yeah, that would be unfortunate. And she would go out with an idol, which...
Well, no, not if she doesn't have the idol.
She'll go out with the potential for
She'll go out with a candle,
with a Beware
Advantage. Idol still nestled inside.
Yeah, so you're potentially getting rid of a threat there. Yeah. So I think he could actually break that way.
Okay, now that we've cleared it up for everyone who's going home.
Yeah, narrowed that down. More to think about. We'll just leave it at that.
Yep.
Thanks to everybody who took the time to write and call and record and all that good stuff this week. Share your thoughts, your predictions, your observations, and I think we agree 100%. It was great to have the intro back, and
yes, all of that.
All the changes that production has been making has been in a really positive light, and it was all the tribe time was fantastic. So more of the same, please.
Don't forget to make your GSFL picks for week 3. One person voted off and 4 people who you think will be safe at the end of the episode. Anything else?
I believe we are good to go.
All right. Everybody have a good rest of your weekend.